Week, you just saw me. Right? Anything new? No? Okay, see you later. It's been a good week. It's fun rivalry week, practice, no school now, so the guys get a little downtime to rest and recover, and big family dinner with everybody tonight. Excited. It's been a good week, so good practice, good preparation, and obviously we're looking forward to playing a really good team Saturday night, and excited that the crowd's going to be what it is. I heard it's standing room only in the stadium, so it should be an awesome environment. Bundle up. Sounds like it might be a little chilly, so might have to have some warm drinks in the tailgating areas for everybody, but it should be a good time. Questions?
Coach Doeren, how rewarding has it been for you to see the team respond when it seems like the message during the bye week was it's a 5-game season now, see them buy into that and turn things completely around in your favor so far?
It's very rewarding. Kind of stood at a crossroads as a team, coming off of that loss, and a lot's been said about it, and just asked them to look at 5 games as a new season and how good can we be in a 5-game stretch, and take it 1 week at a time and everything in the world to win each and every next game, and that's what they've done. And so, when you're on top of a program, you're the CEO of a company, whatever it is, when you give a directive and everyone follows it as hard as they can, it makes you feel good, and you appreciate their willingness and the fact that they're all in. I've got a lot of respect for my coaches for helping me lead it, and the players, for leading each other, because ultimately that's what it comes down to, is those guys holding each other accountable.
How fun it has been, you're on this winning streak right now and everything, and you're preparing for your rival, and always rival games. This is a fun one.
Yeah, anytime we get to play a crosstown rival, it's a big game, and there's great history in this game, like I mentioned in my earlier press conference, and a lot of close games, a lot of wild finishes, and they have a really good football team. 2 8-3 teams fighting for 9-3, and what else could you ask for in a game like this? So we're excited for it.
Who was Drake's rival, and do you always remember
Bulldogs,
the one-loss record?
The Dayton Flyers.
Do you always remember the one-loss record?
Kevin
Will your
Johns.
guys always remember it?
Kevin Johns was the quarterback at Dayton when I was coaching at Drake, the OC for Duke. So, they were our rival. Mike Kelly was their coach. They were a really good football team, and I remember those games vividly. And they had our number for a while, and then we were able to get them the one year we won the conference there when I was coaching. So, but all rivalry games is big. When I was at Shawnee Mission Northwest, the Fighting Cougars, we had big rivalry games there too with, the other Shawnee Mission schools. So all those games matter, and these high school teams that play each other are no different. When you talk to a recruit on the phone and they got their rivalry game, you can hear it in their voice, and they're excited.
Something we don't see a whole lot of between rivals is flipping commitments. Do you remember the day that Peyton Wilson flipped his from?
I do. Remember it well. It was exciting. And man, what a great player. And that whole head-to-head was intense against them, and very happy that happened for us. Every player matters. Every player, and you just never know who that player might be in the recruiting class when you get them, because as you guys know, it doesn't always turn out the way people think, and sometimes it's more than advertised with some kids. So that one turned out in our favor in a big way, and boy, he went through a lot. There's a lot of people that turned on him when he did that. He had to for a young high school guy from the country to all of a sudden have a fan base attack him. I was like, wow, it's pretty intense for him. So he, at an early age, got to feel that rivalry in a big way.
Do you remember how many times Coach Huxtable went to like a wrestling match or things like that? And is that normal, like to go to not their primary sport?
Yeah, when you want a guy in your program, whenever you're allowed to be in their school, you're in their school. Whenever you're allowed to be, you show up, you're present. Multi-sport athletes, you're present. When I was a position coach, whatever that second sport was, you were there. If they were playing basketball, you were at their game Friday night. You were eating team dinner if you were allowed to be at the team dinner. If they were a wrestler, you were at the wrestling match. When it got to track season, you were at the track meet. That's just what you did. And what you still do, if you're an assistant. I don't get to do that anymore, so I just, when they all go out on the road in the spring, I'm out raising money now. Like, that's my new gig, I guess. So, but recruiting is about presence. It's about being there and building a relationship and being a part of that young person's life early.
Going off of that, not to jump ahead from Saturday, but looking at next week, how busy is that for you when it comes to roster management, transfer
Oh,
portal, et
man.
cetera?
The whole country, is kind of like what's happening now, and you'll find out Sunday, I guess. So, yeah, it's a mess. To be honest, it's a mess. And so, you just hope that the young people involved get good advice and they listen to good advice, and because there's a lot of people that are trying to use these kids from other places to get money, and I think that's the one thing that doesn't get talked about. These so-called agents that promise kids deals at schools, they get a cut, and so they're trying to make money off of these guys, and whereas we're trying to keep them here and help them develop and get a degree and be a part of a program and a family. They're trying to make a buck off of them, and so you just hope that guys don't lose out on that. I know there was a lot of players that went into the portal last year that didn't find a home, which means they're not getting a scholarship, which means they're, if you leave one school, go to the other school, what happens to your credits? Well, usually you lose some, so now you're not graduating at the same pace. Nobody cares if you're not there anymore. No one's developing you. So there's a lot of sad stories that have come out of this thing, and then there's guys, you track where these guys go. A lot of these guys went for things and didn't get what they thought they'd get. They're not playing as much, or they're not playing well, or they're on a losing team. As we all know, the grass isn't always greener, right? And so I hope that in next week, a lot of kids make really educated decisions that have their education and their growth in mind.
Maybe you guys talk to the players about this, maybe not, but the UNC game, people remember. Mecca Mezzi will always be forever remembered. Reggie Gillespie's game, Ben Finley last year. Did you talk about how legends can be created in this series?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can just feel that, with the number of players that are coming back for the game. We got a huge contingency of our former guys, and you named off several of them. Michael Ramos is coming back. Braylon Cherry is coming back. Guys that I haven't seen in a while. So it's cool. What it means. And I heard there was a podcast the other night with Naheem and Emeka talking about their big game. I didn't get to hear it, but that's pretty neat. That's what they want to get on a podcast and talk about, was their turn playing against them. So you know what it means, and I know what it means to the other team too. I've talked to a lot of their players that used to be in that on their team. Now that they're professionals or they're coaches or whatever, and you see them, and it's a great rivalry. Yeah, it's a great rivalry.
You talk every week about the challenges of your defense going against these different offenses in this conference and everything.
Yeah.
What about this challenge of this offense here?
Super explosive, up-tempo, efficient. They've got a variety of skilled players that do different things, whether you're talking about number 9, number 6, the tailback, number 5, tight ends. Quarterback obviously runs the whole show and is really, really good. So yeah, it's an explosive offense with explosive players in it. And, Coach Lindsey, their offensive coordinator, is an experienced guy. He's been in a lot of big games. He's coached against a lot of good defenses. He'll have a good plan. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great game.
Last year was quarterbacks. This year was running
Chips up
backs.
next.
Sorry, Chris. I was gonna say, have you known Mack Brown through the years? He's
Yeah.
a guy, in an age where it takes a lot of stamina to be a head coach, to be doing what he's doing.
It's impressive. When I was a younger coach at Kansas in the Big 12, Coach was at Texas, as you guys know. And my recruiting area was the Metroplex. And so I would run into Coach and his assistants a lot, and I'd run into Coach Brown. And he was like a mentor to a lot of coaches in that league. Obviously, he's a Hall of Fame coach, and you guys know how he is. He's very personable. He would always ask how I was doing. We built Kansas into a Big 12 championship team. And my last year there, I had a linebacker that was the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12, Nick Reed. And so he knew that, and so he was always courteous, cordial. And then he became an announcer, and when I was here, I'd see him announcing games, and we would talk and have nothing but great respect for Coach Brown and a friendship with him outside of the rivalry that I do care about, So, yeah, how long he's been doing this, the fact that he came back, I don't know if I would do that personally, but man, you got to give him kudos for what he's doing there.
It's senior day on Saturday. What's it been like for you to watch Brennan Armstrong's journey in football, just playing against him in 2020 and now having him on your team?
Yeah, it's inspiring. It's inspiring. life's about how you overcome adversity, challenges, obstacles, failure, and Brennan is a tremendous example of what NC State football wants to be about. You know, overcoming challenges, adversity, obstacles, failure, and shining because you did that, and he is doing that right now. And so blessed that he came here, excited that he's getting the finish that he's earned, and that he's getting his last year of college football to be what he had hoped for. Even though it was all over the place, the finish is what counts, you know, and man, he's doing a great job at that.
Trent Penix said yesterday, you know, that the word of the week is family.
Family, yeah.
How does that manifest in this program?
Yeah, so for me, I got into coaching because of the brotherhood and the camaraderie and the ability to help young people. And to me, that happens best in a trusting environment, in an environment where you have to earn the trust, both sides of it. You know, the coach has to earn the player's trust, the players have to earn the coach's trust. And they got to learn about you outside of this sport, and you got to learn about them outside of this sport. And so there's a lot of things that happen here behind the scenes, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of conversation. And it is a family away from families for all of us, not just the coaches with the players that leave their homes and come here. We want them to know when they come into Murph that we care about them, we love them, and we're going to help them. And I think that just takes consistency and a long, long period of time and a lot of conversation. But yeah, I love the fact that not only our players feel that way, but our former players come back all the time. And I think that's, you know, staff continuity. Unless guys are leaving to be head coaches, you see our coaches stick around. You know, I think all those things are great visuals of, he doesn't just talk about it, you can see it. You can see Lee McNeil comes back all the time. You can see these guys, when they get a bye week, they don't go to the Bahamas, they come back and they stand on the NC State sideline because they were treated like family when they were here.
Last year was quarterbacks, this year is running backs. Is it just kind of crazy to you sometimes how one position group can get pared down?
Well, safeties too, you know, we lost two guys there at the beginning of the
Nickel
year.
last year.
Yeah, so it's part of the sport, you know, as you guys know, it's a contact sport. Sometimes your injuries pile up in one room, and yeah, I'm proud of, always have been with what Coach Goebel gets out of his position group, and gets a lot out of those guys, and then the way the other players have pitched in to fill it in. You know, Jordan Poole comes over there, KC jumps in the backfield every now and then. So there's a lot of guys running the ball for us and doing a good job.
Coach Doeren, with 3 of the last 5 against North Carolina coming down to 1 possession games, and at this point in the season, is there anything you sort of have to go back and refocus on as far as blocking and tackling, maybe to make sure your team realizes this can make a difference in the game?
Well, I don't think I have to make them realize that. They lived through those games. It's all about finish. It's all about finish. And so November is about finishing strong, and that's one thing that we've done really well. I think we're 12-4 in the month of November since 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And so this program knows how to finish the season, you know, and we're going to continue to push that. It's a big word, not just in this sport, but in what we do. If we say we're going to do something, let's go do it. All right, you guys have a great Thanksgiving.